Hey guys, my name is Dr. Sharnael, Wolverton-Sehon. We are going to do a very short, quick video here, live. I think I'm live. Let me see. Am I live? Let's see. Let me set my settings to be public here. With Leslie Davis, the brilliant Leslie Davis. A very old, I say old friend, a friend from years ago, not old as in age, although some people might think we're old. I guess it's all relative. Yeah, so we just, we've been talking a lot about what's going on here in the next, what, 20, less than 12, 8 hours, whatever, starting midnight tonight. There's going to be some changes in the planets. And, coming from my background, first of all, hi, I'm Dr. Sharnael, Swiftfire International True TV. Sorry, I forget that part. Talking to her, it seems so natural, like we're just doing a FaceTime or something. So forget that. Sorry, Leslie. Leslie Davis is an old friend, and she's been definitely a part of my life very closely for years and years through service and ministry and God and all the things. And we have been on this journey of truth together for quite a while. She's someone that I talk to quite often as we get new things and understand new things and learn new things. Mm-hmm. And we kind of just ping back and forth on things with a group that we have. So thank you for being here with us real quick. I just want to honor you and thank you and introduce people to you. Leslie, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there might be a kind of tiny bit delay, but that's okay. Well, we're going to get this through because we just have a few minutes anyway. But basically, what I was,
whoa, did that help?
Yes. What I want to accomplish in this few seconds here. Oh, by the way, she is the photographer of these beautiful cards. She's an amazing photographer. So we've worked on multiple projects together over the years. If anyone has enjoyed the fruit of these cards, this is the lady who took all the pictures and and helped me a lot in this project through just even the mental, emotional parts of it. Ha 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 ha. Fun things. So
that was a fun project.
Yes. So the goal for this next few minutes mainly is I want you guys to understand intricately how the planets do affect the DNA. We are going into a huge shift here in just a few hours. And, I've studied some of this a little bit and I've delved more into it in the last probably 3 years-ish. I know that Leslie's probably got a little more traction on it than I do, more hours in it for sure. But she landed on some information that I think is pivotal because, yes, of course, we have free will. And yes, of course, we have choice and we can override lots of things. And all of our choices have cause and effect. And then there's the integration aspect of, what we're eating, what we're thinking, what we're talking about. And then for the physical, and then we got the emotional, and then we got the just the overall mental. All of it works together. And so now we have this other aspect of environmental. So everything is within, but then there's also the environmental. And I know on DNA with epigenetics, we could shift that. So there's got to be some will override, but I would like to hear from your aspect of what you've just found here in a little bit. There is some sort of connection to the DNA and the planets. So explain.
Well, I came across a really interesting way of reading, like basically the energetic blueprint that we were all born in with. And in that, and starting out the learning process, they talk about neutrinos. It's the way I pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced similar. But basically, whenever, and these were really, they were been trying to study these tiny subatomic particles. They're one of the smallest forms there is. And for years, they thought they didn't have mass, and that meant that they wouldn't affect us. And so in 87, a supernova actually died, and around 3 trillion of these neutrinos penetrate our atmosphere, like every inch of our atmosphere. And the thing is they can penetrate any barrier without resistance, any atomic barrier. So they pass through the human body, all aspects of the human energy system, the human physical body, coming in from the atmosphere. Majority of them come from our sun, and they affect your DNA. And everyone has a different energetic blueprint essentially whenever they're born. And it's interesting to see how these neutrinos will affect people differently. And so a small amount of them come from Jupiter, and a small amount of them come from the Milky Way. But as they pass through the different streams where the planets are aligned, they pick up information. And so they do interact with us on an information level, even though we basically have no idea about it, you know? So that's kind of was the interesting thing, because, you know, for me growing up for years, it was like, oh, that planet stuff's just kind of crazy. It's woo. It doesn't even make sense. Like only people who like the devil or something do that or know about that, which, you know, once you understand Jesus studied all this, you realize that's hogwash. But you know, it's been proven. And so it really does affect us, and it affects different people differently, which is, I think, one thing we don't give people enough credit for.
Yeah, and what's your take on the override of that? Like, so if you're saying, and I believe you, that there is, there's a, so when you say penetrate, like literally going in the body, kind of like nanotechnology-ish, you know, like dust of some kind, or like define what you mean exactly, or do you know?
So it, both. I have a vague idea. It can literally pass through every portion. If you and I are hanging out, they literally pass through me and you. So they're very, but as far as the override, I think it all goes back to presence. I think it goes back to being aligned with who you're created to be and how you were created to be, and honoring that, because in that place of sovereignty, that actually, I feel like that is your pillar. Like God and you is your pillar, and that's going to be where a lot of this kind of comes into play, where you have that steadiness through even the more emotional aspects. And it doesn't mean that you won't feel them. It just means you're more at peace and sovereign with it, and maybe even observe. It doesn't mean you don't get frustrated or anything, but you respond more than react, because you have that connection. And it's kind of the best way that I can explain it from my own experience, really, and from what I've read. But
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the more that we're working on us and remembering the power of who we are, that,
yeah,
you know, we can stay in that Psalms 91, that invisible place of, you know, whatever, not that things aren't all around, but Jesus himself was like literally in the boat with the storm all around him, sleeping. And everyone was like, what? Now, of course, he incarnated at 1,000 and was born at 1,000, and pretty much kept the 1,000 mark trail, which is literally an avatar or a deity incarnate. And that's what we do, carry his DNA. And so we have those opportunities. We do have the technology within our DNA. But what are some things, I mean, and we could do things like Epsom salt or grounding and things like that to stay stable. But what else would you suggest as far as, you know, mental or physical things that we can do to stay?
In all honesty, and I know we do oils, but I have been using my oils lately like crazy, because I think whenever you start using your oils, sometimes you almost forget. Well, for me, I would use them more reactively than like to support the emotions. So higher unity has actually been like, I can't get enough of that oil right now. And I use them at night and stuff as well. But I'm going through my oils like on fire right now. But I think the other biggest thing too is being willing to try things that you haven't done before and seeing what works for you, and give it a try for a week or two. Don't try it for 2 days and be like, oh, this is crazy, because you still have habits form, you still have patterns. And I think another big thing for people is letting go of the conditioning and desiring truth more than our beliefs. Because for me, that was one of the biggest thing. I desired pure truth from God, the creator, more than I did my beliefs of someone's opinion. And so I was already meditating. Meditation's a big one for me. Being on the sand's another big one for me. My body responds really, really well when I've been in the sand. Grounding is a huge one, actually getting on the earth. I personally recently implemented acupuncture, and I'm working with someone who is a TCM, traditional Chinese medicine herbalist. She's amazing. So I think it's really, and that actually came to me during prayer time to begin doing that because I asked. And I think being willing to ask what you should be doing and then setting the time aside to listen, because the physical aspects of a human body might need different things for different people. And so that's been some of the more non-traditional stuff that I've done, as far as probably the acupuncture is probably one of those. And then breathing. Breath work has been phenomenal. Even just the deep belly breaths. So many people have been writing me lately and texting me about things going on and what can I do for this? And I'm like, the number one thing you can do that's completely free is set an alarm for 4 different times on your phone. And for 2 minutes, do belly breaths. 1 minute. If 2 minutes is too much, do 1 minute. But do that, commit to that for 5 days and see how you're feeling. Because I noticed for myself, one of the things was I wasn't being super consistent in some things. So I purposed for myself, it was actually the 1st of December. I really got this message to commit to doing some things for my body that were going to be really beneficial. And I feel like I've seen even like some liver spots on my face are healing. Like I've just already seen by being willing to ask and listen to the guidance and listen to what God was saying. And my body's I've already just witnessed in a few weeks a different kind of healing, a deeper healing.
That's great. That's a huge key. And I know you did a workshop for us when we were in Florida for our retreat, and it was pivotal for a lot of people. So I appreciate you remembering that part to add. The bottom line is oxygen, light, anything that can raise the vibration. So, little breath or pneuma into the cells, water, drinking lots of water. I know that's not something that I always remember either. Juicing, any live foods are going to be good. Zeolites. You can get the powder. I know. And maybe we'll have a whole session on this one day, but zeolites, you can get the powder on Amazon. I'll drop a link in here. Clay. Oh, she dropped out. I don't know. Bentonite clay can be very helpful. Vitamin K is very good in general. Davana is very good. Definitely any kind of nutrition or Epsom salt baths, grounding. We have a grounder that we use at night, but there's some people who have like sheets or things like that. Oh, did she come back? There she goes. Yeah, I knew you'd be back.
Okay.
I was just saying, grounding is really good. Getting your feet in the sand, in the dirt, in the water. Even water is really, really good. Not just internally, but go outside in the rain, or just go get an Epsom salt bath, or get by the ocean, the sounds, frequencies, whole tones. So there's a lot of things that we can do. I would suggest everybody just kind of Google, because like what she said, it depends on you, like what is the best for you. And we're all very, very different in our signature codes. And so how things will end and how we incarnated and when we incarnated. So I could be born at a so time and have this kind of situation mixed with my DNA, and it gives me a better capacity to deal with whatever, or maybe you have a better capacity in something else that I don't. And that's what's so cool about us being in the divine and in the collective, is we actually do require one another. Every one of us is important together in that weave. I talked to Leslie and many of you guys about a stitch in time saves 9, and it's that DNA weaving that is going to save humanity. And as we focus on the positive and do all the things for us, which sometimes is counter to what we've been programmed, is because especially anyone in service, right? It's like, oh, the kids and oh, this and all the people you got to take care of. And if you're in church related or ministry related or nursing related or doctor related, it's like your patients, your clients, everyone else. But, the oxygen mask for you is really important, and making sure that you fill your cup before you're working outside of you. Because otherwise we have nothing to give away, and we don't have that strengthening in our field to even, do our thing. So do you have anything to add? I know you just have a couple minutes, but I know you have a lot, and I want people to also be able to connect with you.
One thing that I always kind of remind myself is calibrate, then create. So you need to calibrate first so you can give from that full cup, because when you begin to understand what you teach right now, the energy and the vibrations, when we've been taught, conditioned, I think is a great way to put it, because I don't have taught. And that's actually kind of when you get into the energetic blueprint, you realize how much conditioning is there. And when you are able to see it for what it is, when you desire to see it and you have the desire to release it, it can be gone in a heartbeat, or it might take a little while longer, but it can be gone very quickly. And when you release that conditioning, a great way to do that is journaling. Journaling is actually huge for me. Some people hate journaling. I love it, because I found people don't even, when I ask someone like, well, what do you want? They're like, what? Huh? Like, you, as an adult, you can't even answer that question. And that's where some of the journaling's really able to like pull some stuff out that you didn't know was there if you just start free writing. But getting that calibration, because then you're going to get, you're going to get God ideas. You're going to get aligned ideas. And one move with an aligned idea, with that power, with that calibration behind it, does way more than running yourself in the ground. Or for me, I found it does way more than, it's like we're coming out of this paradigm of total hustle. We're moving into the energetic essence of understanding these things and operating from that place of alignment and calibration. And so we're creating from calibration rather than creating haphazardly, because when I'm a mom, my kids, they don't even fully understand. I understand a lot about the subconscious that, I know that a lot of people, my children don't, people around me might not necessarily, but it's important for my vibration to be as strong as possible, especially for them. Like, that's even like, I don't see it as I'm doing it for me. I see it as like, I'm doing this for them, because I want to walk in as whole as I can. Because if I'm limping through my life, that's not really going to help them that much, Or, I mean, it's not going to be horrible. Worse things have happened in life, but like, that's just not the life I desire to live. And it's not the path I want them to see exemplified before them. So just that calibration, I think, is really important.
I think we just sometimes can easily forget ourselves. And I don't want to say women are more susceptible, but honestly, it can happen as a mom
it's
too,
true.
when we're in that care, and then we have the physical brain that multitasks. So it's sometimes can be easier for that gender to do multiple things at once, completely forgetting us, so remembering us is really important. I'm also reminded laughter. Dina's on here and she talked about yoga, which yoga, that's a whole nother, people like, oh, demons. Okay. It's stretching.
Someone forgot to tell John the Baptist.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, when we stretch, and I'm not talking about, but yoga means union. Let's just be real. Okay. Yoga means union. Someone took that word and made a religion out of it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the religion. I'm talking about the word union and the physical act of stretching. When we stretch and get into alignment, literally science shows that our back in alignment makes the spinal fluid go the way it should, and you can actually spark something that will trip the electric part of your body from the bottom all the way up, and as it goes up, it does an electric voltage to the tree of your back all the way up to your brain, and then it actually ignites new brain cells, and any dormant cells that have been kind of like, what's up, will just get activated. And so there's clarity, it does affect the pineal and the pituitary both. And I mean, the whole back, and not to mention that when your limbic system stores trauma, a lot of times it'll store it in muscles that you don't really use. And so when you start stretching muscles that you don't normally stretch, guess what? The trauma comes out, and you can have an emotional response or a reaction, and you'll be like, why am I crying from a stretch? And you could just have this good, big emotional release. And I mean, that's what happened to me is I went to just do this, and I did it 3 times, and I had emotional relief. I mean, I was like in there going, what is happening? Like I was like, like that crying, and I'm going, okay, so there's something to this. So that's whenever it caused me to look into the science of this, not just the spiritual part of it, which I don't look into that. I'm not into that. I don't care, say whatever. I'm not talking about the religion. I'm talking about the science of your physical body that will move muscles that it's not normally moving. And it causes, an opportunity for things that may have been there for a while to come up and transmute, so it doesn't cause dis-ease later on or problems later on. So all of these things, the clearer we are, the less opportunity for entities and other things to jack with us, whether it's the planets or what have you. But you're here to say that there is a physical substance that's released from just not only the sun, but from planets. And that
what passes through the streams where the planets passes through the planet streams is kind of a way to say it.
And so what could be the response of that? Like, explain.
And like, how would they affect me?
Yeah. Or anybody. Like, how could that affect a person?
Well, it's kind of one of those things where when you go back to, let's say, I feel like the moon's an easy one, because moon's emotions, people are familiar with that, with the tides, we're made of water, all of that stuff. That has like scientific truth to it. And I think for so long, so it's the same thing. Different planets represent different emotions, if you want to say it that way. And wasn't it the guy that you just had on, John Carter?
Oh, Chris Carter.
What's his name?
Chris Carter.
He does an amazing job with that. But some people are still like, oh, that's not true. And it's like, no, it really is. There's actually science to prove it. And this used to be done, thousands of years ago. It was straight observation that they were able to know these things, and the way that these planets moved would affect the majority of the humans this way. So it depends on what streams the neutrinos come through and what your DNA is, just like you said. Everyone's different, but the more aligned you are, the more that you're living in who God created you to be, and the less conditioning that you have, the more that you're willing to release the conditioning. And I think the more that you're really, truly willing to see your body as a temple and as a sacred space to take care of it and do, like you were saying, the stretching, even, we weren't created to sit in a chair at a computer for 10 hours a day. That is not us taking care of our temple. Like, does not go on that list. I understand this is our culture and we're doing it, but it's going to be really beneficial to your temple that you see as, the tabernacle of God, to do some stretching. And so I think when we see our body as a temple, because that was something that was highlighted to me not too long ago. And it actually brought me to tears, because I'd never truly felt it. Like, I heard it, kind of got it, but like not just like resonated deep and like here, just like deepest parts of me. And that'll really help. It really causes you to shift things and make changes. But the planets, the way that they align can cause a varying of emotions, and it depends on when you were born. Your energetic blueprint is usually set kind of when you're born. You have crystalline structures in your brain, and when you come in, they're imprinted from the neutrinos immediately, and that's kind of where the energetic blueprint kind of kicks into play. And everyone, no chart is the same, and everyone's wired differently, so it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time here. How can people find you? Because I know you got a podcast and some other things.
I do. I'm the Leslie Davis on Instagram, and the podcast is the High Vibe Soul, and you can find it. It's a picture of me. It's kind of just there, long blonde hair. It is what it is, bright and colorful. And so yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at for the most part.
Awesome. I'll get you to maybe text me some links, and we'll put them in in here too, so people can find you with an easy click. But enjoy your time with your family. I'm about to go enjoy mine too. And you guys, So something happens tonight in the physical with whatever, and how that plays out here may not be instantaneous. It may be, who knows? And whatever it is, just make sure that you are staying in your power and in your love, and remembering all of you in the middle of that, and taking good care of yourself in the midst of that. And all you can do is be responsible for you. That's the biggest thing, is don't get freaked out. Don't worry. With every choice and every thought and every feeling, we can and are responsible, no matter what. And that's all we can do. And that's all you can do as beings, God beings here on this planet. She fell off again. I love you guys so much. Goodbye, Leslie, wherever you went. And she's having trouble with internet. But I love all of you guys. Have a great night, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. All right. Bye.